My name's Duncan, and I'm going to talk to you about going from being a teacher to a tech entrepreneur, and I hope you enjoy what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to probably go to about 20 minutes, and then if anyone wants to chat with me at the end, we can have a little chat, or you can grab me on my stand over there. So, the company's called EduKey, and one of my favourite bits about the company at the moment is we've got this logo here, and that's because we did a deal with them about 6 months ago. And when you hear where we've come from and where we are, you kind of go, wow, I hope. So who are we? There's myself. I was a school teacher started 20 years ago and taught for 16 years. In fact, if you come on my stand, most of my staff are kids I used to teach. I used to teach this young lady here as well, okay? And we've also got Gintas, software engineer. I taught IT, I was a head of year, I did a lot of middle management stuff. And Gintas, I met online. I started computing with the ZX Spectrum, so I've always loved coding, and I used to sit reading a magazine, typing in code. And it came to a point where there's stuff I couldn't do, because I started with this as a hobby. And I met this guy online, Elance or something like that, and I hired him, and he did a fantastic job. And basically, what happened then is I said, wow, you're amazing, but I haven't got any money. 50-50? He said, yeah. So I went home and, just giving away 50% of my company, which at the time was, actually it was 49%. At the time was zero. So we had like £2,000 or something like that. I started by selling stuff on CDs. The first moment I got addicted was when I sold a CD for 15 quid. And I was hooked. So this guy is superb. He's Lithuanian maths champion 3 years in a row. Then he went to a specialist school in Lithuania where they took the top 100 students. And I worked with him for 2 years. We didn't speak on the phone, Skype, meet in person, anything. He was just like a little Google chat box down the bottom of the page. And we built 5 products during that time, okay? So it got to the point where I left teaching like 3.5 years ago, and in my last year of teaching, I had 3 employees working from my house. So my lunch times was on the phone, my break times was in the school toilets on my phone, and it was long 18. It was tough. I couldn't sustain it, and I loved teaching. I did like teaching, didn't I? I did. You can see I used to like teaching. I looked a bit different then than I do now, yeah, and. I love teaching, but it came to this point where it's like, oh my God, I've got clients, I've got employees, what do I do? Have we got any teachers here? Any teachers? Teaching a long time? I think after about 12 years, you're just kind of like, oh my God, you're drained. So what happened then was in March, we got taken by TS, and 3.5 years ago, there's 3 of us, now there's 35 of us. We're based in Pembrokeshire. We've got people in the ground on Manchester, Nottingham, London, Chicago. Here's something I missed. We started with 50 quid. We've had no venture capital funding. It's just hard work and graft. The September I left teaching, we made a decision, big investment. We spent all of our money on something that we needed. We had 75 pence left in our bank account. Okay, it was really that close. So this is where we were. This is when I was kind of doing things in school as a hobby. That's when I left teaching. And this is actually this is all of our products. I don't really want to tell you which ones because there's stuff I don't want people to know. But really, this is our kind of growth line. So each one of these lines here is a product. So you can see we've gone like whoosh, like this. And when you design a product for export, the big mistakes that I made early on is I tied things to content, the curriculum, which is great if you're in the UK, but then content and curriculum changes, so But I was kind of thinking about things, well, what problems are there around the world that are generic? So you need to be thinking about, well, what are these real pain points that exist around the world? Some countries, some of my software, it doesn't work. It's not, the culture isn't there. However, some of them, it's like one of my things is student behaviour. Big issue. OECD think about 20% of teacher time is wasted dealing with behaviour issues on average in countries in Europe. The next thing you think about is if you're going to go down this route, you need to think about what language you're going to be using. And we use something called crowding. It's superb. We go on Elance, we hire a translator. It costs us about 300 quid to do a new language. So I think we're in about 13 languages at the moment. And the other thing you think about is domains. So, I mean, always get a .com. But what we actually do then is we recognize an IP address. So people in different countries get presented with different content on our site. For example, a different phone number, a different office address, so we can see where they're coming from. And what we present them is we present them something that looks quite local. This is server infrastructure, and basically what we do there is, I can't recommend them enough. If you're a startup and you don't want to be managing servers, we use Rackspace. Absolutely amazing. It's a tech company. You can phone them up and say, there's a problem on my server, and you speak to someone who's an expert. It costs a fortune. But when you get to the point where we are, you can't afford any downtime. When we started off, we were on like a shared VPS server, and it's like cost you 50 quid a month. Now I think we spend £5,000–6,000 a month on infrastructure. And then when it comes to pricing, obviously a good thing to look at is GDP. When you're looking at pricing in different countries, look at GDP. There's loads of data out there on how much they spend in schools and education. And look at it and put your price points in there. I mean, the fall in the pound has helped a little bit recently, but we'll see. Okay, so what we've actually got is, so we've got some products. Oh, we're Bett Award finalists. We won. So we won the ICT Leadership Management Strategy. I was in tears. And when you hear why, I'll get emotional now. when you kind of hear a story and what we do, you kind of understand why. So we've actually got like four business-to-business products that we sell to schools or districts or multi-academy trusts. And we've got one that is business to consumer that we sell direct to teachers. Which one do you think of these is the biggest exporter? Which one, you don't really know the products. Is it B2B or B2C? Which of these in volume, not in cash, in volume, which do you think we sell the most of? So it's this one here. It's this one. Right. These ones, you'll find in a minute, they're quite hard to sell abroad. And when you think about it, I worked in school 16 years. There's no way we would buy American software and have an American company supporting our software in our school. It just wouldn't happen. So let's just take a look at what we do. So this is like our flagship product. So everything we do is software as a service. We mainly sell this to UK secondary schools, primary, senior leadership of the decision makers in there, and we've got schools in United States, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Brazil, Portugal, Middle East, and a couple of others. We have a dashboard, and you really need that for if you're at district level, because you need to be able to, they want to be able to see what's going on in all their schools. We did a free version for the rest of the world, and the reason we did that, in the UK we sold it, in the rest of the world we just did it just to get our name out there, just so that teachers were using it and so on. Okay? But if any of you think you're going to go down the freemium route and make money, think again. Okay? So what this software is, it's like behaviour management, classroom management software, and it's, I put my hand on heart and say it's the best in the world, and we won a Bett Award for this product. Okay? I'll tell you in a minute. Okay. So this is our kind of like coverage of this. This is from Google. So you can see here we are. Here's the UK. Here's the rest of the world. Okay. This product now is SCM management. It's administration, and this has got a much shorter lead time because we're selling it to one person in the school. So you need to think about who you're selling it to. Is it going to be a discussion? Is it going to be changing whole school practice? If you're selling to one person in the school, much quicker, much easier sale. Okay. And again, it's based on UK policy, but we've got schools in the Middle East, Spain, Australia, some charter schools in the United States who use us for administration of SEN. And again, it's not globally generic. 92% is in the UK, and we pick up these schools. We pick up some, but this has been a really nice one because Melbourne University users. So Melbourne University have got They teach SEN teachers, they've got an SEN department, and they use our software during that course, training the teachers. And it's nice because they go into their first job, and they've been, they're used to what we're familiar in using. So next up is this one. So this is any parents here? Any parents here? Put your hands up if you're a parent. Thanks very much. So I'm really sorry about this. I'm so sorry. I can't help it. It's just like, this is the first thing we built, and this is what generated our revenue. And basically, it's a point-and-click report writer. And you put in a kid's name, say they're a boy, and there's a bank of comments. And teachers basically, when they write comments, they get added to the bank, and it's grown. So I typed in like 10,000 comments. I think there's about 130,000 sentences that teachers can use now. So that's actually where we started from. So to teachers, PayPal, always, whatever you do, always go for recurring revenue. You want subscriptions paying you year after year after year. If you're not doing that, then you're going to really struggle. So, this one is 38% the UK. And it's like, you know, look at the difference. The difference in the stats is incredible. And you need to think to yourself, why is that? Why is that so different? Why is this, in terms of volume, our most successful product? And the answers are really simple when you think about them. The answers are we're selling that to a teacher and we're not hitting bureaucracy. Okay? We don't do online sales with that. Nearly all of our other software, we do sales like, you know, on the internet, you know, we do screen share. This one here is pretty much like 24 hours, have a play around. If you like it, buy us. Okay? So this is actually, you've got to think about things like, for example, this here, the buying process and decision makers. That's an easy sell. As a teacher, they pay us 15 quid a year, but we've got a lot of them. So it kind of scales it quite nicely. So I'll just kind of talk about some of the barriers to exporting. The first thing is where to focus, as in terms of the focus on the pain point. What is it that happens? I got my friend over there from the room booking system, Marcus, and say hello, Marcus. Also a Bett winner at 2017. Thank you very much. So Marcus does like booking rooms, and he also does parents' evening things. They're generic. They happen all over the world. And it was so lovely because we were out. We happened to be out at ISTE, out in Philadelphia, and who was there? There's Marcus, selling to the US. Why? Because we've both got globally generic products that work in schools around the world. So you need to make sure that what you're doing is appears local to them. Problem we've got at the moment is Arabic, because we go left to right and they go right to left, and it's causing us CSS issues to be able to do that. But we've got clients who want to buy a software, but it's in Arabic. So, you know, you've got to kind of come over those. Marketing. Most of our sales come from referrals. And the reason we started freemium there is basically we've got some users on. We're going to switch it off. I'm really sorry. We're going to switch it off and say, hey, if you want this, you've got to buy it. And you've got to buy it for your school. The culture I've already talked about, time zones. I didn't realise that schools in the Middle East were open on Saturday. Oh. And then, you know, first when I started off, especially when we're dealing with the US, you've got the East Coast, the West Coast is, I don't know how many hours, but it was, I nearly bought clocks, you know, London, Paris, New York, Tokyo, but we didn't go there. We just used Google Calendar and figured out the time zones for us. Free business to consumer, like the gentleman here said earlier, I'll kind of talk a bit like about, maybe if you want to know about it, about freemium and our experience of doing that. And the other thing then is SEO. This SEO is, like one of our products is called Provision Map. It's a really crap domain. I had a look over there, such exciting names. But the thing is, if you type in provision mapping, first page of Google, there's about 4 listings for us. Okay? I mean, room booking system, SEO is such an important thing to do, and content is king. This is such a nightmare to understand, is the buying processes. Like here in the UK, we sell to a school, normally, individual basis. In the US, you sell to a district. Unless we're a charter school, but you'd sell to the district. Kind of like selling to a local authority. Obviously, this is fast becoming a growing issue with GDPR, but you've also got to understand their data protection rules. So in the US, you've got FERPA and COPPA. Okay, Australia is also very, very tight on this, and because of that, that's why we need our data infrastructures to be hosted. Say the data is hosted in the US. US data, and the way we do that then is when we set up a school, we just say like put that school on that server, and that's in the US. So we do it that way. Don't ask about this one. Banking order processing. Never try and start. Well, I tried to start. I owned a company in the US. We created a company in the US, but then when I started getting letters from the IRS. I closed my company in the US down very, very quickly. So, I mean, the way that we're actually dealing with this at the moment is pretty much we do all banking order processing from here in the UK, and we use IBAN or we use PayPal or IBAN to take payments. Telephone's really important. Use telephony, use internet telephony. The guy that I use, he's a local guy from Fishguard. Brilliant. This is Fishguard. Does anybody know where Fishguard is? Look at it on a map. You have a look where we're running EdTech from. Drive west from here. Drive west, drive west, drive west. I've got a 5-hour journey home tonight. Drive west, drive west. When you hit the sea, that's my house, and that's where my guys are, okay? And also then, the telephones, you know, we've got a US number, all right? So when we phone, and not only people phone us, but when we phone them, it appears from the US, All right, it's really important things because and we've got a US member of staff. She works in the UK, different time. She works different hours, but you know she's from Vermont. So when she answers the phone and speaks to people, we like to buy from people from the UK, American, especially with Mr. Trump there now. We buy American. You know, it's the same kind of thing. Okay, and just coming back to something I mentioned about my team that I'm not sure. Let me just check if it's in here. No, it's not in here. The teachers, they're magic because my staff, 35, whatever, I think it's about 35 of us, most of those are kids that I used to teach. The vast majority. I teach 16 years. They come back to this rural area where there's agriculture and tourism, and then you can imagine the job interview. I've known them since they're 11. And they are superb. They are absolute. They're over on our stand. In fact, A215 underneath that big N5 sign over there. If you want to see what we do, come and have a look and come in with my team because they are a fantastic bunch and we all work together. And I'm so pleased for them because they've got a fantastic career in a small town with no jobs, really outside of the high street and so on. Okay, resellers. You might think to yourself, hey, we're going to go and we'll just get a reseller. Nah, resellers aren't interested at all and they're a distraction. And the reason is, a reseller is not going to sell your stuff until you sell your stuff. Until you can say, hey, look, you know, we've made £200,000-300,000 of this ourselves, and they go, oh, wow, you guys are making money, we can make some money as well. But if you think you're kind of like pre-revenue, you might get a reseller, it's not going to happen, it's just a distraction. And cost, well, yeah, the cost of doing things. Like I say, you know, we were down to pennies in the bank at one point, and you've got to be so careful with that money. You've got to be, the difference is, if you get VC funding, you've got to spend it as quick as you can. If you do it the way that we did, as a startup and kind of going forwards that way, you know, I lost sleep over it. I didn't take, when I left teaching, the 1st September was head in my hands every day, and I don't think I took a salary for the first 6 months, just because I think I was paying some staff out of my own pocket. And what I'd done is I knew I was leaving school about 2 years in advance. I kind of decided this, and I saved up pretty much a year's worth of wages so that if it went wrong, I had time to get myself sorted out. Okay, so I've got they said I've got to put two most important things. The most important thing you said in your presentation is be globally generic. Think of a product that is going to work on a global scale, okay? And what should the audience do if they do nothing else? Research which markets your product's suitable for. You know, make a matrix of those, and also make a matrix of the ease of entry to those markets. Some are very hard to get into. They might be, oh, look at this, they've got, you know, 300,000 schools in this market. But to get into that market, there will be barriers that you need to look at. And you might, don't go for the jackpot, go for the small ones first. In fact, in the US is the same. What you need is my friend from over at Power School over there is it's the race to be second. They don't want to be the guinea pigs. They want a referral who you can say, well, yeah, it's working really well in this district.